Okay, here we are back in the letter. So we're still at the everyone lives route, except there's going to be a bit of a problem with that right here. Disarm him.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
I don't think twice. Within the span of a heartbeat, I'm moving and pulling on the trigger. 2 shots in quick succession echo across the foyer and both hit their mark true. Wright recoils with a sharp cry of pain. His pistol falls useless to the floor with a loud clank, followed by drops of blood from his bleeding wrist.
Why, you insolent!
He's down in 2 successive steps when I tackle him on the floor, pinning him hard with my arm. Although before I can knock him out with a solid right hook, an agonized wail bursts through the tense air, loud enough to echo along the dark, empty halls of the mansion. Piercing enough for every occupant in the foyer to cover their ears and close their eyes. Then all at once, there are images. However, there's no time to make sense of all of it. Amidst the discord and the noise, something whizzes past by. Too close, too swift. A brief, keen blur that barely registers in my eyes, like an arrow quickly finding its mark and heading straight for...
Isabella!
Time slows to a stop. In one moment of clarity, my body moves on its own, heart pounding hard against my ears, blood rushing through every vein. Spurred only by adrenaline and a desperate bid to reach her crouched, unsuspecting form, and... I don't even get to yell for her a second time. I don't even get to call her name.
Ashton!
An acute pain burst through my chest in the next instant. All of a sudden, everything around me feels too sharp. Every edge, every point. Even the act of drawing a deep breath alone stings and burns my lungs, while an intense ache slowly spreads throughout my whole body. Numb. I feel numb. A hand comes away bleeding, shaking, while I can only let out a wet, ragged laugh. Soon without warning, I'm going down on my knees and the whole world is pitching sideways. An arm, warm and welcoming, is on me the second I stumble back, catching my fall. Isabella has always been warm after all.
Ash?
Her hands are shaking, her lips are quivering while she looks at me with wide, fearful eyes. Tears have started to form at their corners, threatening to spill at any moment, and a pang of regret hits me at the sight of it.
Ashton?
To a sudden end unlocked. Even for the last time, I can't even give her a reason to smile.
Hey, you're crying again. Don't give me that look. Told you. Doesn't suit you.
Cautiously, despite the stabbing aches shooting up at every movement, I reach a trembling hand up to wipe them away. Crying has never looked good on her after all. My arm never makes it far, however. Midway, she meets my hand, catching it in a light grip, as if she's all too afraid I might break. Though I already am. Just slowly. The pain is easing. Everything's going cold.
Shut up, Ash! Don't move, alright? Stop talking! We'll get you a doctor! Someone! Just stay put! Just stay put, okay? You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I'd like to agree with her on that. Reassure her. But I've gone through a lot. Survived a lot of shit. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that I'm done for. Whatever hit me, a hole to the chest is fatal enough. I don't think I'm going to bounce back from this. I'm dying.
I'm sorry.
I should be afraid in this moment. Yet I'm not. No fear. No dread. Just an acceptance. And a deep regret as she appears before us, her voice echoing throughout the foyer. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands. To make matters worse, that thing's behind her, menacing. A rotting hand wrapped firmly around her neck. She looks like death. Pale and shaky, eyes red with tears. We nearly don't hear her as she pleads.
Help me. Please.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now you're dying, meddlesome fool. Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Here, there's only a whispered sigh, a fading breath, and a lone heart that beats hard one last time. She got one thing wrong, though. did not die alone. So, this is what Hannah's chapter is going to look like when I get around to it. In case you're wondering. And yes, we're going to play through this because there's something left to burn. So just keep in mind on the true ending, I'm assuming you've watched either Grim Reaper or Glimmer of Hope, one of those two. Glimmer of Hope being Everyone Lives, if you haven't seen the achievement. So, worried about her, pisses her off. I'm actually kind of curious what's going to happen to Luke because Ash is dead.
About you, Hana.
Will he still get in trouble, or how is this going to work? Because his ending should vary now. And then Ash had no effect on them if Hannah and Luke stay together. It's only if they separate that Luke becomes vulnerable and Ash can start going after him. So there's Kylie. Here's breakfast. And then we're going to get to see her picture. They're also happy together. So I kind of wonder what the memory fragments all have to do, because Luke will see those. Maybe he's not supposed to see the ones that are behind Isabella, Rebecca, and Zach. I should have also expected he won't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse, that's all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. A sound crackling through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist no 2 seconds later. Just a graze. However, it is enough to cause my fingers to tense and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moments happen in a blur. In the following second, I'm being tackled bodily to the ground, back hitting the cold floor hard, and an arm pinning me down by my neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air. Shrill and sharp enough for both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover over this any day. The haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then... Ashton! And the next second he falls, down on one knee, desperately trying to keep himself up with what strength he has left. But eventually his own body caves in. Taking the horrified Lily down with him, muttering quietly to her as something distinctly red flows from his body. Blood? This man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed to. I didn't shoot him, I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in bloody blazes is going on here? It's so wrong to just want a quiet night where nothing needs attending to. Just one normal night. Quickly, everything has turned crazy with perilous happenings that are hard to explain. But it seems that, when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This is going to cause more problems. All this screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason is giving me a migraine. I need to get all these people out of my house, one way or the other. But in the blurry mess of my vision, none of this registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does. except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather the strength to look up. Everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
Luke, help me. Please. I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
I've always been cautious and careful, cutting off trouble's head before things can escalate if I'm able. That's why I deal with the likes of Harvey, Suarez, and Johannes. For all who we are, for all the enemies the likes of us can make, such a thing has never happened before, because I do everything to make sure it doesn't happen. So to see Hannah in danger, I don't quite know how to feel or what to do. Of all the times for there to be a hostage situation, if this is even one, why now? Good fucking God, what is going on here?
Help me. Please. Please make it stop.
I think death would be preferable if my sense of self-preservation was shot to high hell. It would deprive me of choice and responsibility in the matter. And I don't want to think about how fast my heart beats, so that I hardly hear anything other than my own heartbeat and her pleading.
Please. They're in my head. Screaming. It hurts so much.
What do I do? What can one do against someone holding your life in their hands? With a woman that looks more monster than man. When the woman's expression turns into one of amusement and her laughter fills the air, I want to call her out on it. There's a rage simmering just beneath my skin. But my own scream dies down in my throat. All I'm able to muster is a pathetic croak. She laughs as if this is all just some sick joke. My breathing becomes a bit too shallow for my liking, and I feel like I'm on a precipice where one wrong move can lead to someone dying. This is crazy. All of it.
Luke, help me, please. I can't.
And something in me snaps. There's a switch in my head that wants to go one way or the other. I have to... What did I choose last time? His tree is just too damn big. Demand her release. What am I doing? Why am I even hesitating? I won't go as far as to claim that I'm any sort of decent human being, but this is Hannah, my wife I'm talking about here. What sort of husband, what sort of father would I be if I just stood by idly while she was in danger? That doesn't change the fact that this is all fucking insane, of course. Having all these intruders is crazy. To think about going at this thing is crazy. I can hardly classify it as a person in my eyes. Perhaps a maggot that needs to be crushed under my shoe, just like the rest of this sorry lot. But a person, hardly. But I care none for any of it. They don't matter. All that matters is that Hannah and my children are in danger. But cold pours over me, freezes me in place once more when I try to make demands. I have to take deep breaths, grit my teeth, and steel my fist to even find the courage to speak up.
Let go of her! Don't hurt her! Whatever it is you want! Just don't you dare hurt her!
And if my voice isn't as firm as I'd like, it doesn't matter. I will beg and plead if I have to. On my knees, bend my fucking proud neck, and maybe even break it, just to make sure she's safe. It's not her life alone that is in danger. Our children's lives are on the line, even mine perhaps. Because I don't know what I would do if anything happened to Hannah. I will plead for the woman who will be the mother of my children. The cold stillness has gone from my body and my very skin feels like it's on fire. And I have to shout, scream at her when Hannah continues to cry out in pain.
What do you want? Money? Is that it? I give you however much you want.
Luke, please make it stop. I want it to stop.
Just stop whatever it is you're doing to her. Can't you see she's hurting?
I cannot stand for this.
Let go of her! Now!
I say it with such ridiculous conviction, and of course she won't listen. Why would she? She has the upper hand here. There is no reason for her to do as I ask. But her voice is but a whisper and deathly slow, and I'm hard-pressed to hear it over the pounding of my heart in my ears. She speaks, the woman from the gardens and the servant girl from the ballroom, from the hallucination, vision, memories, whatever they were. A hush settles over the room as we listen. Do you really wish to be with her? there are no second thoughts.
More than anything. So please, let her go.
Though her expression doesn't change, I have this most awful feeling that it wasn't the answer she was looking for. I can see how the woman's fingers tighten around Hannah's throat. The lack of possessive here just keeps throwing me off. Hear the hitch in her breath, and I fear that I've made the worst decision in speaking out. I didn't think she'll listen, yet she does. A hand on Hannah's back sends her falling down the stairs. I move to catch her, and that sends us both sprawling at the foot of the stairs. With my back to the ground and her on top of me, the pain doesn't even register in my head. All I can worry about is Hannah and the baby's well-being as I pull the both of us off the ground and away from the stairs. Away from her.
Are you alright, Hannah? Are you hurt?
It takes much too long for my liking before she speaks. All she's able to do for a moment is whimper in pain, a hand to her throat. And when she does manage to speak, her voice is far too faint along with the hold she has in my arm. It's terrifying to see her like this, and to think I nearly lost her.
You're fine, Luke. I'm sorry. Just give me a moment.
For a moment we forget, but
You deserve each other.
just hearing her voice triggers something in Hannah and she starts to tear up. Her face contorts into one of pain and fear. But I grab her by the shoulders to keep her in place so that she can see me and only me, and so I can see only her too.
Look at me, Hannah. Look, I'm here. You're safe. I won't let her hurt you again. Do you understand? Just breathe.
I don't know what exactly in bloody hell is going on, yet I can't find it in me to care. Whoever these people are and whatever they're here for. These are not acceptable conditions for a pregnant woman. For all I know, this is all some dumb charade to get to me. All the times I've seen the woman before could have been an act to get to me, to get under my skin. And to think they dare hurt Hannah. For all the fear that I had felt, seeing her touch Hannah, I can only think of her as an actress in grotesque makeup. My hand still shakes, the fear not having quite gone, but anger fills me as I look at the woman, a sneer on my face.
How dare you? I don't care who you are, but how dare you touch Hannah? I want you out of my house, out before I call the police and have you put away for the rest of your miserable life. And that goes for all of you!
I hold my ground, firm and strong with my declaration. But the nerve of her, she just laughs in my face. A terrible, dreadful laugh that makes me feel as if there are ants crawling on my skin and maggots squirming in my ears.
You are telling me to get out of your house. You threatened to lock me up.
She laughs, and she laughs.
What's so funny? What are you laughing at? None of this is funny!
But she persists and almost feels like her voice is in my head.
Oh, no different. No different. You're all the same. You can all suffer together.
And that is when everything turns to complete and utter shit. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan, blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just the foyer that's become the nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily while Steele stands protectively in front of the two. I suppose it only makes sense for the man to take on that role when their friend is gone. Something to hold on to when here seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away.
Ah, I was hoping we'd get something from him. So if you didn't notice, that last one was Ash. Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there's nothing but silence, her horrid smile and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified, I really am, like I should be, but I've never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There's no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood we share? This is your home. Don't you remember? You promised to return, to stay, together with me, with us, with people no different from you.
What is she talking about, Luke? What does she mean?
Don't listen to her, she lies. I promised no such thing to anyone. Hannah, you're the one who bought this house. How should I know what she's babbling about? I never even wanted to be here in the first place.
A terrible case of mistaken identity, that must be it. I'm quite sure of it. I don't know this woman, this monster. Why would I say that to someone like her? In my entire lifetime, I've only made and kept sincere promises to a mere two people, Hannah Evans and Eleanor Chandler. No one else. The rest of those who claim I've promised anything to them can go fuck themselves. Bloody hell, I may enjoy the company of women, but I am not an idiot to start spouting such nonsense to anyone. A line must be drawn, especially if I am to keep myself alive. And yet, she still goes on, insists, making me appear a liar in front of these people.
Of course you still deny it. Have you truly forgotten? You haven't changed, I see. Still a deceiver.
She's lying!
You see, my love, nothing has changed. Still no difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes. Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
The monster reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct. Stumbling back one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. Take Hannah with me, we can start a new life out of this dreadful city, start a family. There's nothing for us here. Her parents were long gone, nothing to keep us tied to this place. Shrocken has likely been taken by this woman, and he's not what binds me to this wretched city. I only need Hannah. We can leave. We can...
Careful, Luke!
My foot steps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again from the open house, though it feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat, what with recent events. Must have fallen from the detective in the commotion earlier. And with its owner having met a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me, help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shit because of some stupid old letter. An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I don't. I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. I certainly am not giving myself to a hideous creature like her either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panic gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door and... Without warning, it slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I'm expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 6 of us in this room, 3 of them friends at that. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. Bloody hell, even Hannah's giving me the same looks as them now. Though Mint has already gone loon, crouched in a corner and muttering to herself, can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind Steel. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse why even Hannah has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show us this letter that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her friends are stuck here also. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Put that knife down, Lucille.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened!
And blaming everyone in this room isn't going to get us out of this place. Please put that knife down, darling. You might hurt yourself.
Are you taking their side? You're also stuck in this nightmare buttercup! What about the children? Aren't you the least bit worried about them? That creature is out to get us, and you're still defending these people!
I'm not defending anyone, Luke. I'm just trying to be reasonable when you're clearly not.
Oh, of course you're not. You're just the one who bought this bloody mansion to begin with. If I didn't know any better, you did this on purpose!
Why, no. Why would I ever do that? This was only meant to be an anniversary gift. For you. For us. For the family we're going to have.
Right, anniversary gift. Oh, here's your gift, darling. Oh, by the way, there's a curse included in that package. I hope that's all right. Are you really that eager to get rid of me, Hannah? Because if that's what you've been meaning to do all this time, you might as well just put a knife in my back while I'm...
Suddenly, Hannah steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand. Said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. Before my mind registers what's happening, a sharp blow explodes in the side of my head, sending me reeling backwards. So there's the soul punch. She merely stands before me afterwards, without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Sometimes I forget.
Don't you dare, Luke. Don't you dare imply I've ever thought of you that way.
That Hannah is never the weak woman I believed her to be. How did I come to think of her as such? She used to be someone I can look up to, isn't she? When you look at her now, the way she stands tall facing a man like me, the same way she has done so all those years ago, I can't help but think, am I not responsible for taking that part of herself away from her? Enjoy your time as Mrs. Luke Wright. What a bunch of shit. Realizing this, I can only look away while she reaches up and places a hand on my face. Gone is the anger, and only remains a soft smile while she looks at me with a shine in her eyes. The 7 years we've been together, and I've only been nothing but a piece of shit to her. Yet here she is, still smiling at me the way she has done so many years ago. It's impossible not to feel like a complete and utter trash like this. She has an uncanny way of doing that to me, really, especially when she takes my hand in hers and places it right in her tummy. Right where 2 tiny babies are still growing. Ours.
Love, look at me. We've already talked about this. If we are still going to do this, it has to be the 2 of us. I will stay with you, but things are going to have to change if we want this to work. We can't keep doubting each other like this.
Not until we find a way out of here.
I'm sure we can. Maybe they know something we don't.
You're going to rely on them for that? These peasants who brought this on us?
Keep talking about us like that, and see if any of us here will keep you out of this place.
Rebecca, stop! All of you, stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She's always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, that meltdown she had during the open house had only proven my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me reminds me a little of the way my own mom would look at me, particularly when I've done something wrong, and it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She's done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steele, the big oaf, doesn't even dare break it. Merely watching the three of us behind two women who he towers over significantly. Too soft. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension is lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
we still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that. Admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends have no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment. My hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spread across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damn paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden Min stands. I've almost forgotten she's here. Her ramblings haven't faded away in the shouting. Without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right then and there. But the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got!
No, even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything. I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them! Oh God, those poor souls! They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele's been quiet this entire time, but the sound of him talking, however whispered, still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same question in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach? Maybe it's also the reason why Ash went here.
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
Steele pauses while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her, and her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things, in this nightmare, hope? Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance, or confirmation. The meaning is lost even a daze who glances at them baffled.
Belle, what are you...
Becca, it's this place.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value.
What? No! We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Seriously, Luke, are you really more worried about that?
Buttercup, mansion, millions. It's gonna take years getting all that money back!
Well, you certainly won't be getting any of that money if you're dead. Really, Luke? Is that more important than your life?
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
It's not only that. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses, born out of great anger and pain, and whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it. As if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people. Officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, it's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they all flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. It doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me. How do they think I last in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. What now? Are they going to throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves? I am no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you?
Are you people implying that my husband, that we should just...
Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
How dare they suggest something like that? Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. To think this is all the solution they can come up with. Should just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. Doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And they may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do. None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shit about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. Let's burn the letter. And it's an easy decision to make, especially with these cries growing louder. I'm getting tired of it, really. I simply have to act fast, think fast, and what else is the root cause of our problems but that letter? No need to make things more complicated. It started from there. Why won't it end there? If what Mint has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before anyone can think of passing it on to someone else. Before the situation can stretch on too long, for my tastes, I snatch the blasted paper away.
Give me that.
For a second she appears offended until I take out Mum's lighter. The sight of it shuts them all up. But I have no need for their opinion. In the next moment I'm already setting the letter on fire. And it doesn't take long for the thing to catch fire. It's old, for heaven's sake. Though I make sure none of the ashes end up on anything flammable, it'll be an inferno inside the study with all the books and documents stored here. Not that a big flame's anything to worry about in this case. In fact, in a matter of minutes, the damn thing has turned to ashes on the floor. With nothing left to burn through, the fire dies, fades into thin air like in a whiff of smoke, leaving only the awful scent of burnt paper in the room. But as the last of the paper turns into cinders, a sharp, agonized wail echoes from somewhere in the mansion, before quickly dying out, taking with her the horror she has brought upon the mansion. Slowly before her eyes, the mansion changes again. Blood fading from the walls, ceilings, and the floor, returning the place to its old beauty. Gone is the darkness, quickly replaced by the artificial lights in the room. Even the smell of blood and gore has completely disappeared from the room. Perhaps the only thing undesirable left are the dumbfounded looks they're giving me.
See? Wasn't that easy? For fuck's sake, you people need to get your heads checked. How did you all make it this far in life with that kind of thinking? Well, you can all thank me later for this. You may now show yourselves out of my property before I call the police on you simpletons.
And take the stiff with you. I walk out of the study without a single glance back at them, more than eager to finally get fresh air. They can find their way out of this place, I'm sure. I better not catch them again here, though I will not be happy. Outside there's only silence. Deafening. Still. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it, from the wide-open windows, is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxborn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free. Mansion is put back in the market months later. Briar Realty facing criminal charges filed by Luke Wright. After the news of the lawsuit broke out, they went bankrupt, rumors spread. Those who believe in the horror stories, the testament to the curse and secrets. To the day it stands silent, but nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the skies, some still claim hearing of voices within, of cries and wails that fill the nights, and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who once tread its halls, I'll just hit the skip button. An investigation headed by the newly appointed Chief Inspector Abigail Harris, all of Wright Enterprises' legal business dealings within the past 10 years come to light. Although his involvement with other crimes still being investigated, disclosure has caused a huge outcry, especially from the city's business sector. Sued on multiple grounds, the company is ultimately forced to shut down. So that's kinda lame. Nothing changes, even with Ash out of the picture there. Even with his success, he hasn't forgotten what he lost during that time. But while there are still nightmares, with support from his family, his doctor, and his own drive, the dark images have finally turned into pleasant dreams. He's aware he won't ever truly forget, but he's no longer running away. At times when he's not busy or after a hard day's work, he thinks there's another story for the big screen to be told in that. An idea he may soon turn into reality once his time affords it. Doing it not for herself, but for the sake of what she lost after the curse, as fresh as the wounds are still, this is how she remembers. Nor what she has lost. The images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows those won't ever disappear from her life. It has become a part of her in the same way death has permanently taken from her. However, she's no longer afraid. And with a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on her canvas. An honest portrayal of life and hope amidst fear. Although Isabella has already taken the first steps towards her dreams, she has never forgotten the sacrifice the beloved has made for her. The same one who has quietly encouraged her despite his careless words. Even after so many years, she remains a constant visitor where Ashton Frey lies. sometimes staying for an entire day, simply speaking of the mundane, exchanging jibes with the man as if he was still there with her. The wounds are still fresh, she can never deny that. There will always be a part of her that will carry the grief of losing him, and another that left with him. But Isabella soldiers on with her life, instead of wallowing in her grief, knowing the detective will only tease her for sulking so long. She paints, and it is how she has chosen to remember him. So can I skip this? The real letter? There's no scene with Kylie. Maybe that got skipped too. But anyway, as for epilogues, that must be variant 6. No Ash. So variant... okay, a lot of these variants down here are probably if Ash is dead. Variant 1. Maybe variant 2 is if they were only on friend level or something, I'm not entirely sure. So there's no new Luke escape. Actually, maybe variant 3, I'm not entirely sure. In terms of friendship, is there any sort of grieving thing here? Maybe not. Still got divorced. Those two don't speak to each other. And yeah, remember Ash? Only you and Isabella, maybe. But anyway, that's it for now. So, as far as I know, next thing is True Ending. So, we'll speed through Hannah's chapter and we'll gradually make progress. Unless something new comes up in the other chapters, I'm not going to record those. I'll just link in the Glimmer of Hope parts. But anyway, I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.